next like to welcome Ms. Laura Dabro. She holds a bachelor's in agribusiness management from the University of the West Indies and a master's in marketing from the Arthur Lockjack Global School of Business. She has pursued certificates through WIPO distance learning in IP management, trademark, industrial designs, and geographical indications, as well as copyright and related rights. She has also received ISO 9001 training, patent mining, technology transfer, and much more. Over the last 15 years, Laura has worked in sectors such as banking, education, research and development, marketing, and agriculture. She has been with CARIRI for the past 6 years, and in her current business development capacity, she has worked with over 250 inventors, SMEs, and larger business organizations to date. She also spearheads the virtual IP clinic hosted every month in collaboration with the TTIPO. So I'd now invite Laura to start her presentation.
All right, excellent. Good morning and good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for that introduction, Gayatri. The Caribbean Industrial Research Institute has been around for a little over 50 years now. We've been working with hundreds of businesses, SMEs, larger organizations, individuals, to not only take ideas to market, but to also help them build their businesses or manage it better. We're predominantly known for our testing services. However, within the last around 7 to 8 years, we have expanded our portfolio to include entrepreneurship and innovation. So I wanted to extend a special thanks to the TTIPO for inviting us to needs to be discussed. One of the questions that kept coming up, and Ms. Nanya Kara would have alluded to it as well, was, why is it that a lot of SMEs aren't paying attention to IP or even exploring the various IP that would be relevant, the IPR that would be relevant to them. And from my experience, having spoken with a lot of these SMEs, apart from the whole topic of IP not being properly addressed, a lot of these entrepreneurs, the perception or the association to IP is that it's expensive, or I'm in the Caribbean, nobody's gonna steal my idea or steal my product, I don't need it. So I'd like to commend the IP office for really working to change that mindset, so that we know, okay, there is value to our SMEs locally, utilizing IP and how they can actually use it. So keeping the momentum going, when they asked us to speak about taking your idea to market, we work with a lot of SMEs at our Freeport branch to take ideas to market. And one particular client's story came to mind. Post-COVID, of course, a client came to us and they said, Laura, we've had a lot of ideas to pivot our business, but we've lost a lot of money. A lot of the ideas, they fell off, they didn't make it. And we really think that this idea is a good one, but we need some help. So what are some of the steps to really validate or to actually take this idea to a stage of commercialization? So when I thought about what would be the steps to help you, I took inspiration from that story. All right. So what are the activities needed to take the ideas to market? We're going to dig deeper into identifying or defining, started off with defining the idea. We a lot of times often research and validation is taken for granted. So we're going to talk about the importance of that. We're going to talk about prototyping, or pre-prototyping is the word that we use, which is pre-prototyping. We're going to look at testing the market, and then commercialization, or actually selling. After that, we're going to look at, what are some support services that CARIRI has at the different stages or levels of your business or of your idea, that we can help you actually take it to the next level. So, from experience, a lot of you could probably attest to this. A lot of SMEs who have spoken to, they attest to this. And I mean, even us ourselves, we have lots of ideas. We start off with many ideas, but by the time it reaches to market, if it reaches to market, it's only one or a few. Why is that? Well, first we start off with, where do we get these ideas from? You get these ideas, you look at everyday problems that you encounter, everyday problems that someone you know encounter. And that's how you come up with an idea for a solution. Also, you know, you get ideas from brainstorming with your friends, brainstorming at school, brainstorming while, you know, you're at a sporting event, brainstorming and you get ideas from that. Additionally, if you have a business and you maybe want to add a new product line or add a new flavor or expand, you can listen to your customers. So that is another area in which an idea can come to you. Additionally, understanding your competitors are very, very important to understand where the gaps are in the market. So that's where you can get an idea to solve a problem, right? And we would have mentioned that, you know, you start off with a lot of ideas, but then some of them fall off. Why is that? Because it's too costly to develop. Sometimes we don't have the capital to see an idea through to the end. You know, maybe there's no market at that point in time for the idea, or the market could be saturated for that idea. It cannot be made from existing resources. So existing materials, existing technology, if the idea cannot be developed, then that can prevent it, or it could be a challenge to actually take it to market. And then a big one is IP infringement. You don't want to encroach on anybody else's IP. So oftentimes we think that, okay, I have this idea in Trinidad. It doesn't exist here. Because it doesn't exist here doesn't mean that it doesn't exist somewhere, and you're not encroaching on somebody else's intellectual property. So that is where the IP office and the searching to see if you can pursue something is very, very important, and to help you pivot or you know, understand how to tweak your idea. The next thing, and this is one of the things that we would have mentioned, is taken for granted a lot of times, is conducting research and validating your idea before you even reach the market. Throughout the presentation, I may use the term fail fast and fail cheap, right? Because you don't want to invest hundreds of thousands of dollars or even thousands of dollars. And I mentioned earlier that okay, somebody would have been using a trademark or brand, it already exists, and then have to rebrand, and they would have lost sales, right? I think Ms. Rona Jack would have mentioned that. Very, very good point. So that is why research is quite important. And what are the two different types of research, and why do we need to do research before we continue to even think about commercialization? We're looking for novelty. How novel is the idea? Ensure that we're not infringing on anybody else's IP, as well as what are the relevant forms of IP available to me and my idea or your idea, right? And the value of it. So that is what you would do some IP research for, and reach out to the relevant experts to guide you along. And then you're going to do general research to know if this idea is feasible, viable, if it's marketable, or even licensable. So we've had the pleasure to work with Ms. Jack at CARIRI to help her license her idea. So that is an option for taking ideas to market. So that's a topic that is not addressed as well, because sometimes you may not have the money to see your idea through, and you may think, okay, I'm out of options. No, you have other options. All right, so that is the importance of research. Additionally, looking at what existing alternatives are in the market or on the market, what is solving or addressing your potential or intended customers' needs, so that you will know where there's a gap in that need, so that you can address it in your solution. What are the trends in the market? So if you are coming up, if your idea is something that is maybe not moving forward with the trend, how marketable is it or how feasible is it, right? So we would have touched on the costs and so on. So that is why research is very, very important before pursuing the idea head on. The next stage or the next part of the process would be maybe not building a full prototype, maybe a demonstration model, perhaps what we would refer to as a prototype, simply because as human beings, we like to see, we like to taste, we like to use our senses, touch, feel, and smell, etc. So, for example, if you have an app idea, and I'm definitely looking forward to hearing Dr. Shamtav's presentation later on about this, but if you have, let's say, for example, an app idea, you can develop a mock-up, a wireframe for your app. Depending on your idea as well, you can develop a demonstration model utilizing a 3D print. You can do drawings, you can do a virtual rendition of the idea, so that we can have an understanding, a better understanding or appreciation of what the idea would look like. If it's a food product or let's say body care products of that type, you can do a sample batch. All right, so for our clients that I would have mentioned earlier, we did a sample batch of their product and we did go into the markets. We went to over 20 groceries, we've sampled and surveyed over 600 persons to actually get feedback. So that's where we're going into market testing. With your sample, who are you talking to? Are you talking to experts to get feedback to actually, if you have to improve on the product or the service or whatever the idea is, who will be your potential customers? It's very important to speak to your potential customers, not your friends, pardon me, but not friends, fools, or families, simply because they may want to encourage you along and you may not get as honest a feedback as you would hope. So when making a decision whether to take the idea straight up to market, try to identify your potential customers. So because that client had a food product, we went to the groceries, and we sampled most likely customers. In addition to that, we conducted surveys as well as focus groups and sampling. So it was a combination. At the focus groups, we looked at caterers, we looked at different groups of persons who could potentially use the product, right? So we did test the market and we got feedback and they were able to tweak the product accordingly. We didn't only test the physical products, but we also tested packaging. What is it that would appeal to the customer? What is it that they would look at on the shelf and say, yes, I'm going to buy that product, right? So those are some of the things that you would do when you're testing your market before you actually get into the final stage, which is the commercialization. Now, there may be a few iterations of changes before you get here, or the market might tell you, if you do your feasibility study, they might say, well, no, we won't buy this. What happens then? You either come up with another idea or you see how you can change the idea to meet the needs of the customer. All right. So we're assuming that, okay, we've tested the market and so on, we've identified the most likely customer, we're ready to launch. What is our business model now for commercialization? How are you going to make money? Who are your key partners? What would be your distribution? Your manufacturing plan, and we're going to talk a little bit more about how CARIRI can help with all of these areas. Your financial licensing is also an option, and then very importantly, your IP protection, especially if when you're commercialization, you're commercializing the products with the intention to export and so on. All right, so jumping right into the support services that CARIRI has. We are multifaceted. We have a number of services to assist at every stage to take your idea to market. And if we can't do it, we have a lot of collaborations, a lot of MOUs, and we have a lot of networks that we work with for you and with you. All right, so the first one is in our business incubator, our innovation incubator, sorry. We have our idea advisory service. Currently, they are managing a project in collaboration with the IDB, funded by the IDB, called Bridging the Gap to Commercial Application of Innovation. In this program, program, they work with you and they utilize a lot of the steps that I would have mentioned before to help you really flesh out that idea and have something that can be taken to market, right? They also do ideation sessions. Now, what is the purpose of an ideation workshop? It is to assist SMEs, companies, and individuals to generate ideas. All right, it helps you come up with ideas that could potentially really make it, as opposed to generating just a plethora of ideas that may fall out. They also help you filter the ideas to focus on the best ones, the most feasible ones. All right. Part of their program as well is prototype development. How do you develop a mock-up or a demonstration model that you can use to take to your manufacturer, your licensing partner, your distributor, even your potential customer to gauge demand? Another support service that CARIRI has is our business incubator. And we have a number of programs in our business incubator that assist SMEs. Before I say that, I just want to say that in the idea advisory service, they have had over 800 idea submissions, and they've worked with a lot of inventors so far to date. In our incubator, we host the IP clinic in collaboration with the IP office. We have rolled out the diagnostic tool starting April. The feedback has been quite good. Our clients, they've mentioned that, okay, yes, it saves time. It provides them with a more guided consultation. So it truly is a very helpful tool in the clinic, as opposed to how it was before, where, okay, the SME will, or the inventor or whomever, they will have the appointment, and then the IP officer would have to just talk about everything IP related. At CARIRI, we've also had some training in the different elements of IP, so we do try our best to speak to the clients, to prep them as well. In addition to the IP clinic, our business incubator also houses our business hatchery program. In that program, we've worked with over 250 entrepreneurs and SMEs to really provide them with the tools to build their business better and manage the business better, right? So we're actually wrapping up a cohort now, and we do help them with their financial management, their business model, market research, which is very important, as well as the preparation of a business pitch. So our hatchery program is a 3-month program, and it's quite comprehensive, and we also have one-on-one coaching in that program. So it's definitely tailored to suit the needs of SMEs. In our incubator, we also do mentorship, one-on-one coaching, and that is, in different areas or different aspects of the business. The other program in our business incubator is our innovation gap analysis program. This is for more established businesses. Not that an SME cannot have an iGap done, but it's just, we go in, we look at all of the different areas of the business, operational as well as administrative, and we help you. We work along with the decision makers to identify those gaps. Furthermore, we do in-company workshops, for example, to help you address those challenges or those areas where you may fall a little short, or even if you have a monopoly or you have an advantage, how do we help you to maintain that? So that's what the Innovation Gap Analysis Program does. Our ICT department is also located at our Freeport branch, and they help companies with data analytics, mobile app and web development. They also do usability testing. They have coding training sessions. So they've worked with a number of SMEs along with schools. So they have a school program where they train students in coding essentials and so on to really develop the ICT space and to encourage that type of knowledge and skill. Right? Our biotechnology department is very important when assisting SMEs to take their ideas to market. And they were actually very instrumental in helping the client that I would have mentioned before. We would have partnered to develop the product development. So remember what I would have mentioned earlier, manufacturing plan. CARIRI has technology base where you can do small scale production. So you can reach out to our biotechnology department to assist with that. They also do HACCP and GMP training, food safety training, to really prepare you to run a safe business. All right. In addition to what I might have mentioned, the product development. And those are some of the main services to assist SMEs, but we're not limited to that. We also have our extended testing labs that you can tap into for support as well. Our chemistry department, they do testing, they assist with development of the nutritional facts. We have a calibration department, effluent management department is very important as well, to ensure that your waste management systems are in place and you dispose of your waste properly. We have sustainable energy. If you have green projects or those types of initiatives that you will want to explore. All right, and then we have our other testing labs: civil, stack, air quality, environmental, etc. So thank you so very much for having us. It was a pleasure, and I do hope that you got some value from the presentation. How do you take your idea to market? Feel free to contact us should you have any questions, or even if you want to find out more about how we can help you. All right, so thank you so very much.